Warning, this video contains badass content not suitable for haters. Do not attempt to recreate or reenact any of the following activities. Sub-Ohm Sensei, Sub-Ohm Studios and its affiliates will not be held liable.
What's going on, everybody? Sub-Ohm Sensei here. Welcome to episode 3 of the Clouds of Flavor series. Today's coil build is going to be one that you've probably seen done a few different times. There's lots of tutorials out there for it. I believe Kent, Mr. Twisted Messes himself, coined this one. It's the zipper coil. We are going to be putting our own little twist on it. We'll be using a couple different gauges. Let's dive right into it. As always, we're going to need a couple things to complete this build. The first and most important of which will always be batteries capable of 30 amp continuous and 60 amp pulse discharge to power our unregulated mechanical or box mod. A drill, 26, 28, and 30 gauge Kanthal or nichrome, unbleached organic cotton, juice, an RDA, as well as our coil building kit. Okay guys, so there's a few ways to do the zipper coil. Whatever's easiest for you to stay organized is obviously going to be the one that I recommend. Whether that be taking two pieces of tape onto the table and labeling them clockwise or counterclockwise, or just working on one side at a time, it's important that you keep the wires separate or it's going to end up a mess. Essentially, we'll be taking one 18-inch length of each gauge and straightening it clockwise, then twisting it together counterclockwise, and then we'll do exactly the opposite for the other side to make our zipper coil. So we're going to pull off 18 inches or so of each gauge. Now we got our lengths of wires cut. I've just taken one of the pieces through a 90-degree bend in it and inserted it in the drill chuck. And we're just going to straighten it out by rotating it counterclockwise for about 5 seconds. And we'll repeat that with the other two pieces real quick. Now we're just going to find each strand's bent end, and we're going to make them all oppose each other so that they get their own slots in the drill chuck. If you've got a lower quality drill chuck, it may help to take the 30 gauge and kind of free twist it around that 28 gauge and give them their own slot in the drill chuck just to help keep it secure a little bit. So we straighten these wires running counterclockwise, so we're going to kick our drill back to clockwise and verify. And we're just going to run our fingers down the length of the wire and get a good bite on the end with our pliers, and we're just going to twist these together until it breaks. Typically it'll break at the chuck. If it breaks at the other end, it's not a big deal. We're just going to run until it does break, regardless of where it breaks. Quick example of what the wire looks like after it's been twisted together. So we've twisted the wire until it's broken and then put a 90-degree bend back in it, inserted it back into our drill chuck, and now we're just going to take our pliers. If you have toothless, that'll be fine. If not, just find a set that has a small non-serrated section. And we're just going to clamp down on the wire, not too hard, and we're going to run down the length of it with the drill running 3 or 4 times. It's just going to help get rid of some of the roundness of the wire, flatten it out, broaden the surface area, as well as increase the aesthetic appeal. Since we got one half of the coil wire done, we're just going to snip our end off and set this aside and repeat that process in reverse with the other side. Alright, so on the last wire set, we straightened our wire by spinning it counterclockwise. This time we're going to straighten it by spinning it clockwise. So again, we've straightened our 3 wires, this time going clockwise. So again, we're going to make them oppose each other. Insert them into their own slots in the drill chuck. Set our drill to counterclockwise and verify. And then again, run our fingers down the length of the wire to take out any slack. Get a good bite down on the end with the pliers. And we're just going to let it run until it breaks. Alright guys, so we've rinsed our wire extremely well in hot soapy water, and the next step is to just throw 5 wraps around a 2.5mm wrapping post. This can be done one wire at a time, or my preference is to just kind of visually line them up with each other and then wrap them both at the same time. For me, it tends to give a cleaner product, a little better looking at the end. It may be easier for you to do one at a time. And again, this one is a springy coil, so it may help you to do 6 wraps and pull the first one off like I did, help clean it up a little bit. So we're just going to repeat that process with the other side and we'll be ready to install.
I could schedule, I could give you all of my time. Turn on my camera, it's your moment to shine. How you do with all that spotlight? Can you make me feel inspired? Are you comfortable in that spot, or would you come join me in mine? Just let the bass capture your soul. Make believe we all alone. I know the dance floor is packed. Don't let them knock us out our zone. Dress fitting so perfect, must be heavy into that CrossFit. Got you stuck in my crosshairs and I aim to please your target. You can be the leading role, you can play the main attraction. I can let you take control as soon as you say action. Just let the story unfold. Whatever happens, just happens. On the same set, we magic. Cause you can't fake this passion, girl. How's it feel to be a superstar? Say how's it feel to be a superstar? Stick with me and you can go far. Just let your hair down and turn up. The mood's right, turn up. Ain't nothing to do tonight, turn up. I'm fresh from head to toe, turn up. Oh yeah, I'm letting go, turn up. Oh yeah, I'm on one, I'm on one.
Oh, yeah.
Alright guys, so we got the multi-gauge zipper sitting inside of the Velocity. We're running her wide open at 70 watts and she's ringing in at 0.11 ohms. So it's a nice warm vape. Ringing in at 0.11, it does heat up fairly quick, and as thick as that wire is, it doesn't dissipate too fast, so it will heat up your mod. It's not something you want to chain vape on for too long, but it produces tons of vapor and the flavor is right where you'd expect it to be. All that aside, it's a really quick and simple build to do, and it looks good to boot. I enjoy it, and as always, I hope you do too. Until next time, keep on vaping.